Who am I? What am I doing here? Who am I? What am I doing here? Who am I? What am I doing here? On a trolley, by a wall, with a gloss paint strip of red just above my head. My head? Have to feel to check in case I'm mistaken. To see ourselves as others see us. Oh, that the Lord, the gift He gives us. I could be a bit of blue tack. Oh, don't be ridiculous, for crying out loud. Sure, I'd never see the red strip on the wall there, plain to see. Blue tack doesn't have eyes. Years ago, I think it was about 1997, 10 years ago, Brendan Gleeson gave me a book of Fingal folk tales by Patrick Archer. And in it, there was the story The Stag of Donal, which was about an informer operating within a web of informants. Great story. I've always thought it's a great story. But why? Why this story? Why we do it? Well, I know why now. You know? We've all seen the Northern Ireland Assembly collapsed, destroyed by a spy ring. And nobody is talking about it. That's the reason why I want to do this play. For God's sake, it happened 200 years ago. The very same thing, the very same instrument used by power to protect its position. And nobody is talking about it.
Vive, lads, it's set in the knoll, 1798. You're delving into a very rich tradition there, you know, pre-theatre tradition. Some of it was mummers, and they're stock characters, you know, and they play our plays, and their job, they tell stories about the locale, and they poke fun. Donal is not only the writer, he's the actor, he's the producer, he's the owner of it, you know. He is a master at what he does, you know. Understands his work inside out. I've had the opportunity to work. This is my third show working with him on it, so something must be working between us. But I do come, you know, big task coming on here, you know, quite intimidated by it.
When I bring a script into rehearsal, it's like, no, I wouldn't be so avant-garde as to say it's only the starting point. It's not. It's a very important part of what will be the overall structure, you know, the thing we create. But it changes according to everybody's contribution in rehearsal.
Nothing which is a tavern, a mill, a bridge, a square, houses, a forge, a field,
The music, of course, is a big part of backing all that up. It's in rehearsal usually. Trevor will be tinkering away unnoticed by everybody while we're all arguing over blocking or what to do with the ladders or something. Then suddenly you look over and Trevor has got a kind of a whole other layer around the words, you know. It's the same general tools I try to use in writing as I learned for acting. The Stanislavski methodology, which is really about, you know, it's about being very specific and being very relentless in pursuit of specificity, getting the right words, the right sounds, making the sounds up if you can't get them in the existing words, the right rhythm that gives more of a meaning than just the words.
Actually, it probably is better we're at the end. So that if he's just one bump, he flies, yeah. One bump. The bump is the completion of one.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Oh, the exclamation mark.
I know you're going to say I said that to you, David.
I know.
Go again, sorry.
Oh.
Okay, him. He braces himself.
In the last week of rehearsal for Vive, when the pressure was really high, I was also trying to finalise an application to bring Running Beasts to Lisbon, Rome and Paris. I wasn't given 100% in the rehearsal room because some of my head was still somewhere else. And even though Raymond never said a word about it, I know it must have been annoying. So after one sleepless night of trying to get the application in, I had to, but by the time dawn came, I sent emails to everybody concerned saying it's cancelled. And I must say, I felt this incredible flood of relief the next day coming into rehearsal. Whatever political awareness I had was very linked to me, the imaginative paths opening up for me, you know. Back in the 80s, the parades of innocence that the artists put on in the late 80s about the miscarriage of justice cases in Britain, they were the most invigorating things I was ever involved in. And the key to it was finding affirmative, assertive ground, so that you're not the ones protesting futilely. You're protesting, and it is inevitable that the injustice you're protesting against will actually collapse in the end, and it did. Imagination is everything. It's the most important, by far the most important, I think, political task is to nurture imagination. Different ways of seeing things, different ways of envisioning, you know. That's really the most fundamental reason why I do this. Once there's somebody with a mask on stage, I'm interested. Because you always wonder when you're going to see the real, and if that's the real thing, or is there another one in behind, you know? All that, it's fantastic, I love it.
I love making big theatre, big things, magical things. I love huge theatre, you know, make things appear, disappear, big theatrical coups, you know, excitement, delight or whatever. I'd love to be making that stuff, and do sometimes get the chance to do it. However, you can be nearly as magical and as delightful when you strip all that technology away from you. You can make it in a mask, in a gesture, in a word sometimes.
Fist. Black. Slick. Tension. Slack. Vive la liberté. Tunnel crawl. Take the road. Day. Light. The road. Black. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Tension. Slack. Tunnel crawl. First.
Slack tension.
Well, they kind of run in sort of a rhythm.
I know they do, yeah.
Crack.
Yeah, but if you put it all together,
Slip
it
it,
might
slip
sound a
it.
bit
Tension.
crack.
Okay, we move on. Where to, are we? At all.
Just before Balbriggan Fair Day.
Oh yes, the Noel. From the end of Madeline sending them off.
The authorities here in Balbriggan will track your killers down. Me poor far fiery Dominique Pantalon.
Red coats, thunder in the knoll. Red coats, flogging triangle core. Red coats, hunting down murderers. Red coats, the lawless.
So no big sets. That's Donal's idea. You know, he doesn't even like complicated lighting. That's a nice kind of tension between us, I suppose. That I like things to look good.
Hey!
Vive la liberté!
So what are you supposed to do in there on the la 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 la's?
La 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 la. Hey!
Yeah. So that's a man's one. Same note.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying that, you know, that
I just don't, Trevor, I don't think it should sound, if it sounds cartoony, that's a throwback to when we were doing the showcase. I didn't feel nervous, not in the least, actually. Just looking forward to telling the story to a whole lot of people. You know, on opening night, it's always full, and it's easy to get laughs because it's infectious. You need a few laughers to set them all off, and as soon as the first little nod went out, there was a ripple of laughter, and after that there was no looking back.
What story will we tell today?
Same old story as yesterday.
And the day before that, I'd have to say,
We told it all over America. We're a bunch of destitute mummers.
Offering songs for a crust.
It's hard to imagine that a well-lived life could turn out any
worst.
Je suis venu par bateau et par brigand.
What's he saying, Keller?
He's come to eat cake in Balbriggan.
Bateau. Bateau.
Boat. He's come in a boat to Balbriggan.
He's indicating
something behind him.
He wants you to scratch his back. He can't get out of it with the chains on him. I don't think the scratch was what he had in mind.
Oh.
My God. He's been flogged alive.
He must have escaped from a British jail.
Phelan the farrier.
And Keller.
God. What does he want? Ask him.
Case. Tooth.
Je suis un soldat français. Je suis un soldat français. Je suis un soldat français.
Soldiers on the way!
What do we do with them?
Go or stay!
Vive l'Irlande!
Vive l'Irlande! There's only one thing to do.
Feed a piece of the hammer!
He goes red, white and blue! Ireland! Abu!
So now it's Saturday, 2 days after the opening, and the first review appears, and it's exactly as I'd expected. It's from the Irish Times, it's from Jerry Colgan, and I've been in this business now 26, 27 years, and I've gone, a lot of time I've tried to avoid opening when I knew Jerry Colgan was going to be reviewing, because he stands for the kind of, if you like, the kind of theatre culture in Ireland that means nothing to me. I don't know what they're talking about. That's why I try to do what I try to call when I do live theatre, because it challenges the audience to be an active participant in the imaginative creation taking place in the building. Now, I don't care if that sounds highfalutin. That's what I believe, and that's what I've built, not built my career on, but that's what I've tried to live if you like, live artistically, is the idea that you engage the audience into participation, imaginative participation in the story you're jointly experiencing, you know. But it depends. The way it's structured is in the first 5 minutes, it's like an imaginative challenge is made to the audience. The way I imagine it is, we come along in our stagecoach. We come up to the little siding in the middle of the prairie where the audience are waiting, and we try and say in the most attractive way possible and the most intriguing way possible, do you want to get on board our stagecoach? And the audience, invariably, mostly, they say, yes, we do. And they get on, and off we go across to the Blue Mountains, and we go on a great journey together, and we go and leave them off at another destination. And it's great. But what happens sometimes with critics in their efforts to be objective, they think it's a virtue not to get on the stagecoach. They think it's a virtue to stay on the siding and watch the rest of us disappear in cloud of dust towards the Blue Mountains. And they miss the experience. And it happens time and time again. So you get a review like this. The play opens with 5 masked mummers telling a story, and they soon take on numerous roles themselves to flesh it out. It is a rather clunky beginning, but soon the group gets into its stride to enact a historical drama of tyranny, love and betrayal. Bye, Jerry. You missed. You didn't get on board. We're gone away. We've disappeared. We're a dot on the horizon. Pity. You missed the experience. There is a critical mass of an audience out there, a kind of a cult following in a way, you know. I find that validation enough in a way to communicate with those people who come along, you know. And the fact that we don't get a boost from the Irish Times, well, we'll do it anyway. I've always had a bit of a pipe dream about the idea of driving my show into a town, you know. I grew up in a place called Iona Villas. I kind of liked homework and that. I liked learning, you know. I mean, that's all I did at school really, was study and play football. It was in the altar boys. The local, I remember the Monsignor, parish priest, he had me fairly earmarked for priesthood, you know. I think I just about started getting ideas of my own just in time. If I'd left it a few months later, I might have been doomed. So, no, I love the driving the van. That's the magic of it. I still believe very strongly in the whole concept of live theatre being something that challenges people, and I think this show does that.
Betty bought a bit of butter. Betty bought a bit of butter, Betty bought a bit of... So Betty bought another bit of butter to make the bit of bitter butter better. Hello.
Hello. Do you have any hair fuzzly stuff? Anti-fuzzly?
Anti-fuzzly, how's chaos styling jelly? Good lord!
This was for and for my mammy. And for my glasses.
You're right, Trev. Mama, baby.
Wazzo, you'll never capture the board!
A bird flutters down from a rumpus up above. It lands in a horse trough. I take off my glove. I grasp it. I raise it up out of its watery grave. It's a mask made of feathers. A bird with no beak. Such an affliction to be unable to speak.
For Donal, it's his writing, it's his production, He's acting, you know, like he's a huge stake in this, you know. I mean, his heart and soul is in what he does. But what's really important for Donal is that people are getting it. They're getting why he's writing a play like this, you know. And I think for Donal, if they're not getting that, then it's not worth it. Hopefully, after last night, his spirits are lifted, because I thought people really did respond so positively last night. As I say, I even looked around during the second act, and they were with it. They were on the edge of their seats, you know.
I started doing engineering at UCD. Absolutely hated it. I wanted to do arts, you know, but it wasn't really an option as far as my parents were concerned. So I got then an offer of a job in the civil service. It kind of, my number came up. Somehow I was given the job of being the problem solver for the revenue computer. I hadn't got a clue, like, and I mean not a clue what was going on. And guys, all the other fellas used to be coming to me and putting huge big listings that thick on my desk saying, there's a problem in location, blah, 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 blah. It's an emergency, solve it. I couldn't understand how the computer worked, no matter how many manuals are there. Great relief came out of there. The big discovery of all those years was the Focus Theatre, you know, at Deirdre O'Connell's Stanislavski studio. I left home and the job the same day nearly. I just thought it would have been untenable trying to do what was severely frowned upon and living under the same roof as well, you know. I think from my mother's point of view, I think she was absolutely horrified. I know she was. That I'd give up a good job to do something that not only, you know, did it seem feckless and, you know, immature and kind of faintly ridiculous, but I had asthma. So it was like the worst possible career choice. We put on the play in the Focus called Silicon Sweethearts because it was about a US multinational closing down. That was my first play to be performed. Yeah, it was polemical, unashamedly polemical, but I still think that's a valid enough form of expression. You shouldn't get stuck in it all the time, but Jesus, I've been hammered so many times for being polemical. And it's okay to be polemical now and then. It shouldn't be eradicated from the spectrum of human expression. To be polemical sometimes is necessary. Doesn't mean I'm always polemical.
You are a French soldier escaped from Preston jail.
You stowed away and jumped ship here in Balbriggan.
I speak no French.
You squeeze on wazoo.
They're only a few words I picked up off the MC.
You convinced an audience.
That's different. I had a mask on.
Now you do it without a mask.
I can't. Yous know nothing about performance.
Well, here we are, Wexford now. For 2 shows from Wexford Arts Centre. We did the first one last night. Small house. It's a hazard sometimes. You just don't get a good house. It's a hazard, this kind of theatre touring. took the challenge and we went out and had a fantastic time doing excerpts from the show. Worked up a good bit of interest, and then Elizabeth, who runs the art centre here, was giving out flyers, reduced price flyers. So hopefully now that'll fill some of these seats tonight.
Vive! 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 This man is a gift sent down from on high.
His military knowledge has proven no high.
Get him down off that bow. We need to chat. Vive has shown there's life in this movement yet.
If we'd punched more of a presence in the media when we were in Driocht 3 weeks ago, we would have a much more visible presence, you know. People would know, they would have heard of us, whereas we're almost coming out of nowhere at the moment because we didn't have the budget for significant publicity, you know.
Ah, that glamorous show business. I love it.
We hit Kilkenny tomorrow night. And the Watergate Theatre is, relatively speaking, it's quite a large theatre. So we'll need to pull out the stops to fill seats in that as well. So we think we'll do another bit of street mumming in Kilkenny. You have the energy inside you always to cope with a small house one night. If you get 2 in a row, you can cope with that as well. But if you get 3 in a row, it's really hard to generate the energy required to punch the performance through, you know. I mean, it rarely happens. I hasten to add. Sometimes you feel like you're going with the flow, and sometimes you feel like the flow is going against you. But I think that probably the biggest struggle in living a life in the arts is the struggle against the feeling of futility. I really see the word even like with a cowl and some ugly looking weapon, and it's like the Great Reaper coming along. The feeling of futility. That's the one that makes you just slump, thinking, what am I doing? Among theatre lovers, that's probably what they know me best for is Catalpa, because we did it so often, you know. I don't know, maybe I'd say we must have performed it about 400 times, myself and Trevor, who's also in Vive.
It was just extraordinary, even sitting down at a first reading, to see Donal creating. I don't know how many characters, I'm sure he's counted them, but perhaps in certainly 20, 30, 40, maybe 100 different characters, 25, 30, 40 different locales, animals, whales. You know, he just created this whole world. Starting out sitting in this little bedsit, the failed screenwriter. And I just remember that line that we're all familiar with, when I think of what I should have done. And then the opening sort of frames of the movie. And like 2 hours later, we're just whacked. And like he's giving everything to this first reading. And we kind of thanked him and walked away, and I came out of the room, and I was just so happy. And just as a punter, not even as a producer or as a writer or anything, it was just great to have been there that morning, because it was the first time that it had taken life, you know.
Sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Sick to death of it. Sick of it. I'm sick to death of it. Stuck in a rut that never ends. Rooting around on the shit pile. And all because I sat there, mute, on my arse, facing those 2 Tinseltown know-it-all gobshites from Hollywood. Just trust me, I wanted to say. Buy my screenplay, give me the cash, and shoot the movie to make all of our dreams come true. But instead, I turned hostile. Could feel my face tighten, my eyes go cold. Tried to look nonchalant. I meet Hollywood producers every day of the week. Yawn! Foolish man. Foolish, foolish man. What I could have said was, why didn't I just show them the pictures in my head? Why didn't I just seabird? I'm a long, wet seabird. I am a seabird, long-necked and wet,
and I'm squatting on your desk, Mr. Big Picture Movie Man. My feathers drip. Puddles form between my feet, but I'm still proud. I puff out my breast and I impress you. And now, I'm going to fly. I'm going to spread my wings and fly in the sky. Come with me, movie men from Hollywood. Anyone can fly. Just spread your wings and flap. Then dive and haul. Flip, 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 flip. Waves, choppy, choppy waves, green, brown, tossing, touchless waves. Flip, breast feathers flutter in the harsh sea wind. Cliffs loom ahead. Flip, say a fish still wriggles in your bill. Bank up and sweep starboard towards screen caption, New Bedford, Massachusetts, April 1875. Hold caption. As the slate grey sky darkens, lamps start to dimly glow, windows start to twinkle. Whip over the port you glide. The masts of the stocky whaling vessels draw strange loops as the ships pitch and bob. Sailors roll the barrels of oil down onto the dock. You wing your way above the town, over the rollicking bars, and over the desperate shacks. Whoa, whoa, whoa! A lean mongrel bays. A boy throws a stick at you, but misses by a mile because you're too high. Whip! You climb towards the plush slopes of the whaling agents' mansions overlooking the town. Whip! The fish wriggles again. There's Greta down below. Beautiful Greta, with sadness in her so sweet smile. Think of Angelina. Yes, Angelina as Greta. Beautiful Greta, but steely too, as we shall see. The first time that went out, it was a Red Kettle production, and it opened in Garter Lane in Waterford in May 1995. And I went on a 3-week tour after that, and it was like really hard to get audiences then.
The tour, from a financial point of view and from Donal's morale point of view, just in terms of doing that kind of work to so few people, it was very demoralising for him and for us. And the initial enthusiasm of the opening in Waterford was dissipating by the night as we toured the country.
And I'm kind of thinking, okay, here I am 12 years later, same thing happening. Should I be worried? And today, yes, I am. Maybe if I'd been cleverer a few years back, I would have found a way of increasing my profile, you know, more in a more kind of focused way. Maybe I should have paid more attention to it. I didn't, out of, I suppose in a way I might be accused of a bit of arrogance, that I just thought there is an audience there. They'll come, you know.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't know they'd do anything like this. Why did they tie your hands so tight to the Liberty Tree? I still can't open the knot, even though I've been at it with my sparrow knife since it got dark. Say something, ma'am. Are you all right? Your feet are freezing. Lift them out of the river if you can. Can you hear me, ma'am?
potential failure, I suppose. That's the word that's coming across the horizon towards us, you know, like a bloody twister. You have to resist it, or you have to say, right, incorporate it. This is part of the reality. It's part of the truth. This concept has failed. Maybe I will have to say that. Not a couple of weeks before it comes to that point. A couple of weeks of struggle. Creative struggle.
You do the work at 2, man. I do it on my own, it's quicker.
We have to look at the big picture as well. The best art doesn't happen through thinking in terms of the main fundamental being bums on seats. And I get really worried when I feel that frame of mind becoming very current.
Oh, Frenchman, you can walk free and
It was kind of encouraging last night, talking to people afterwards. They were reeling off all the different shows I've done in Kilkenny over the years. So that was very encouraging, you know. You know, I always got a kind of a what you might call a cult following around the country, you know. But maybe it's dwindling. Maybe I'm getting too old. Maybe I should get a proper job at this stage. Maybe I should, you know, I always think my nirvana is the idea of whenever I get into these moods of what is the point of this. I think I'd love to be a postman. I think that was maybe my missed calling, you know. Postman, you can't. Well, sure enough, you have to go out in all weathers, but I don't really mind the weather. And anyway, you have to do that, doing this gig as well. But you have a kind of a range of decisions to make. It's not just all. It's not like working in a factory, you know. It's an acceptable quota of complexity about it. You have the odd dog to worry about you, but it's all, you know. You get a pension out of it, you get, you know, all those job security things. Oh, God. I think I might think again. It's not too late, is it?
Real entrance is around the corner.
What's this we've done about it? I suppose this must be about the 10th venue, is it? The last few now have definitely lost money. If a PD councillor was watching, they might think the state doesn't owe this fellow a living to do what he wants to do. And I think they'd be right. I've been arguing for the last 3 or 4 years that there's a way of touring live theatre that makes it viable for the production company and for the venues. I want us to be as portable as a band. So there's a way a band would tour around doing one-night stands. I don't know why theatre can't do that as well if you're clever enough, you know. Style it so that you don't need loads of set-up time. You don't need to hire a whole lot, you know, 3 or 4 guys to build the set. You just come in, set up, do the show, and if necessary, take it down and move off the next morning to another venue. But it's not working.
Ladder, 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 loft. Hands and knees to bed of straw. Huh?
Excuse my existence. Madame informed me this is the guest room.
Leonard, what the devil are you doing here?
Sleeping off rejection. So surprised.
Rejection?
By Madeline.
Madeline? Reject?
Follow the light, gobshite.
Now I like you even more than I did last night.
If you had a leg as withered as mine, you might have trouble planting the vine.
Quick! Rope! Trick! Fist! Crack! Slip it! Slick! Tension! Slack!
There's Donal O'Kelly, you know, how many years he's been at it? Touring the country with hit shows, packing them out. We think we've built up an audience, but no. People are more likely to come and see, you know, things they know, like a John B. Keane or Shakespeare, or maybe early. But if you have a show called Vive, it doesn't mean that to anybody. So it's harder for people to make the step, even if they know Donal O'Kelly. And Donal's very well known and very well thought of. But there you are, that's this business. It can be really rough, you know.
What I'm hoping is that maybe in a couple of months' time, we look back and we'll see this as the trough time. the struggle we had to go through to create a really fine piece of live theatre that lives on, you know. In the last week of rehearsal for Vive, when the pressure was really high, I was also trying to finalise an application for to bring Running Beasts to Lisbon, Rome and Paris. So after one sleepless night, I sent emails to everybody concerned saying it's cancelled. Well, what happened was Michael Houlihan, the composer, picked up the ball after I had dropped it, managed to stitch the whole thing together again, got some kind of application in. We managed to get the whole thing done, and we got funding to bring Running Beast to Lisbon, Rome and Paris, which we're going to do. Most of the music was written first, and I wrote a draft of text to that music. But then, as I learned more about O'Neill and researched it more, I wanted to change it. So I kind of threw new texts back at Michael, and he wrote music to fit that text. The Earl of Essex was in Ireland in 1599 at the head of the largest force that had ever left England's shores. It was colossal, and it was huge news in European terms. It was like, you know, it was like Operation Desert Storm. It was the same kind of thing in those days. And O'Neill had a meeting with them with no witnesses. O'Neill and Essex, the two of the most glamorous soldiers of the age, if you like. Nobody knows what was said, so it's like the artist's dream, the writer's dream, to be able to imagine what went on between them. Because of the story, and because there's so much interest in the Flight of the Earls and in the air just this year, I think we will get general interest audiences. Anytime I ever I find myself in this sort of smug mindset, I know there's a big fall just ahead. But anyway, at the moment, Running Beast is looking like it's going to be a complete doddle from beginning to end of total enjoyment. It's a tricky one. Methinks I might not be hailed a hero in the English countryside. Have no fear. Philip of Spain will back us. Sorry. Because you skill, Trish, I can't do
sorry.
it.
Okay, sorry.
It's too hard. On the 4th of November, we're going to play the National Concert Hall. Considering that this was the thing, I think I even said it to you. I think you have it on film, me saying, I'm so relieved that I'm not doing Running Beasts. But now, cause I can't wait for it. There's no point in looking back. I take a honeymoon with my fresh bride, Catherine. We go fishing on the Ban. She's a local McGuinness girl. The Aves again, we say. Delighted as Catholics to adore in our one true way. Peace, war, pardons offered in the door. Submissions worded, dangled purse. I'm up to here with God's curse on Philip of Spain and his long-figured promises of ships, horses, fighting men. I have gunpowder, muskets, bullets and steel in hogsheads and dry vats from Danzig and Kiel. The lead I import for my roof turns to air. Oh, the canopy of stars to look up at I prefer. From my bed in Dungannon, awaiting the day when the Spanish weigh anchor in a nearby bay. So we had a fucking Rubik cube going. Oh, that was one of the hardest gigs I think I've ever done. Michael and the musicians kind of got together and developed this little soundscape.
Loch Swilly. Lapping waters of Loch Swilly. Dawn has broken, and we are under sail.
The idea is to, if you like, dissolve into a shot in the audience's mind of the ship in Loch Swilly. It's like a kind of fade up. It's like having fishing hooks out. Whenever you've kind of you're developing a thing like this, you get nibbles, you know. So we have a nibble from Warsaw.
Stands for me, he kneels for me, he extends his open arms. He embraces me, he kisses me, he flanks me with his guards, then presents me to the Romans. 10,000 voices roar, I wave to the multitude, the running beast once more.
I feel like I'm almost at home here, because the whole feel of the theatre, this is what I've been doing for 30 years, this kind of thing, you know. And I'm hoping that people from the theatre company here will be along tonight, because I'd really be interested in talking to them about coming back again, maybe with some other pieces, you know.
Love me for it, they love me, my fiery beard aflame. They love me in Dublin, I'm the fierce red grail. I'm emotional and colourful, the things they're not. I rage and I challenge them, their cheeks burn hot. They love me at a distance too dangerous to squeeze. I wink at them and tongue along and bid them take their ease.
We'll be heading to Leuven in Belgium next Friday night. In January we play the weekend of the 26th and 27th of January in the Untas Centre in Castleblaney and in the Courthouse Tinnahealy. I think Vive was a real punter's show. I know the people that came to us got a great buzz out of it, but we didn't attract that many people. And I think that's a problem of, you know, reaching the right audience, you know. Sometimes you just have to put up with that it's a hazard of chosen life, you know. I think you have to kind of battle through it sometimes. But the feeling of futility I find very scary. And there was a couple of times on the Vive tour where I came dangerously close to it, you know. But then it can be wiped away quite easily too, and usually in the most unexpected way. Where it's usually when you've gone through the valley of sorrows, sometimes suddenly you find yourself looking at an amazing vista, you know, when you manage to crawl your way out of it.
Vive. And is there a last name? Keegan, lovely, they're still here, yeah? Thank you. Bye-bye. There is no tickets left?
No tickets left.
No. So if you wait, I might have one ticket, but there is other people on the standby list. I have no tickets.
One time.
Sorry, standbys for Vive, there's no tickets. Yeah. There's no tickets. For standby, yeah? You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you have all been waiting for. On top of
Enchanté. Volez pour vous à Dublin.
Well, now we've just finished the last night of the run in the project, 2 weeks run in the Project Cube. And for the last 5 nights, it's been full houses and getting a great response. So it's great, it's been a really good run here. And I think in retrospect, it was great to actually put down roots in a venue for a while, because the word of mouth obviously has been really good and has spread like wildfire. So there was huge pressure for tickets tonight outside.
We didn't know how it would go, and you know, you always have your fingers crossed, and it's just like the little momentum over the 2 weeks. It was like, yay! Yeah. It fits. Brilliant. It was deadly. Such a buzz. Such a buzz. I love it.
London McNally. I'm afraid we've got to do, it's going to take about 40 minutes to do the get out first, the usual thing. We'll have to go and get the van now, bring it back to get all the stuff out. And then we'll have a couple of drinks and reminisce and make a few plans. It's gratifying and kind of validating that we've got what might be called a minor popular hit just at the moment, you know. Making connections between the past and now is one of the instruments you use, I think, to stage your challenge. That's what I try to do as an artist. You've really got me talking. That's what I've admitted. Okay, I'm an artist. That's what I like to do, is to stage a challenge in the most artistic way I can manage, and with as tight a focus as I can manage, as vivid a focus as I can manage. What is art? What is what? We're wrong. Ring, sing me a song of a hospitable wallflower.